Okay, mic test 1 2 1 2. Checking the mic. Give me a heads up, please. Welcome everyone to the Pro Trade Room Plus Consumer Confidence. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director for 10-Minute Trades. Please remember, all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor. It is possible to lose money trading, so please trade carefully. Okay, good morning everyone. At least it's good morning for me on the East Coast. So I think I'll put my webcam. I never can decide where to put it. I think we'll put it over here for now. So we have a interesting week, I would say. This week and next week, I do think that we are going to be dealing with extra risk in the markets because we are at the end of summer. We have, what they call the summer doldrums, but there's still a lot of attention in the markets on a lot of these reports. I mean, consumer confidence is an important report because it really gives a great insight into how the consumer, the person that's buying all the things that keep the U.S. economy going. That's why it's such an important report. And there is attention being placed on it. But we're also in summer doldrums. A lot of people are away. There are less people trading. I mean, it really is that way. And you just have to keep that in mind. All right? So keep it in mind. It is, I think we're looking at a risky week this week because of the holiday. Also, you got lower volume people starting to go away for the holiday. There's no question people want to get out of town. Summer's ending. It is the official end of summer, I guess you could say. Now, I'm going to pay attention to Richmond, but 99 times out of 100, Richmond comes out early, and it doesn't really have much of an effect on this event. So I expect that Richmond is going to do what it always does. It's going to come out early, and it's not going to affect this event. All right? When we look at the videos, I'm just trying to get my news situated here. When we look at the videos, you'll see Richmond. I never use the word always in trading. Richmond always comes out early. I don't know why. It's crazy, but always early by as much as 20 seconds. So I would not really pay much attention to it other than looking at the number. The number expected is pretty negative. I can't imagine it's going to be much more negative than that. It's already very negative. Okay, let's talk about what we're going to do with consumer confidence. I want to welcome everyone on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Hit the like button if you can. We'd really appreciate it. A couple of things I've learned about CB consumer confidence. Over the past 4, 5, 6 months, almost all the reports are reversing, in particular after hitting the first target. So if you're going to trade gold, I would recommend using the target 1 stop move feature in the software, which I'll explain when I set everything up. But this report, it does tend to reverse. I'm not saying it's whipsaw reverse, but I'm saying it very often hits the first target and then changes direction, and then it'll sometimes go back in the direction of the trade, when it's a good trade. So it's something to just keep in mind. Gold, you could see, is just tried to make a new low, came really close, right at the open there. Okay, so consumer confidence, it has been trading well as a breakout, so I know you're all going to think I'm crazy for trading a trap trade, but the trap trade is a good setup also on this report for the ES. And I happen to like trap trades. I know a lot of people don't. So first thing I'll do is I'll set up the gold trade for folks that are going to trade gold. And again, just keep in mind that this trade, it can reverse. If you look at the DMM also, the DMM gives you a good hint that there are reversals, okay? Now, last month was a nice big spike. It was a nice big spike. In May, what was crazy was in June, it had no response to the news. It was really strange. June was no response. But if you notice the DMM, there's lots of reversals on this report. Sometimes in seconds, sometimes in minutes, but what I've seen with the testing, there's lots of directional changes on this report. Don't be greedy on your targets. That's what that tells me. Don't be greedy on your targets. All right? So what I would set up with gold, it's a breakout. Our trigger is 959.59. The bracket is 12. And the target's anywhere between, I would keep your targets between 8 and 25. That's where I would keep them. Keep them between 8 and 25. I mean, look, you can always, if you're good and experienced at trading, okay, then you can make your second target bigger because you're able to manage your way out of a trade. But if you're new and you're not so familiar with the way all these reports work, don't make your targets extra big, because the ideal is that both your targets get hit, you have a profitable trade, and you don't have to do any management. That's the perfect trade. We used to call that a bread and butter trade when that happens. So activate 959.59. The bracket is 12, and then gold targets anywhere between 8 and 25 is fine. The stop is 15. And then the break even, the target one stop move, means if your first target gets hit, move your stop. I move my stop to break even -4 on this report. Okay, target one stop move, and you can move it to, so it's BE -4 is what I type in. You can just type in -4 if you want to also. Okay. Someone out there saying they're having Apex data issues. Is anybody else having Apex data issues out there? Stop of 15. It's been quite a bit, I'd say that there has been quite a bit of controversy around Apex lately, for a variety of reasons. Some people are saying they changed the rules again, but other people are saying no, they're just enforcing their rules. So Apex, is interesting in that they are very, very proactive as a company. Let's leave it at that. They're very, very proactive. Let's check our brackets, the bracket width. I'm setting my time to 0. When I set my time to 0 and I activate an event, okay, I'm going to get my brackets. All right, and they're just looking for tradable setup so that the trade can be managed. All right, so that's the setup that I'm using, that I would use on gold. Like I said, I'm trading the trap trade today on the ES. It's a setup that worked even when consumer confidence traded with jolts. It has a lot of good history. And then remember, and I'll try, hopefully we'll have time, we'll get to see some videos. We'll analyze some of the previous gold breakout videos. So one more time on the gold setup. 959.59 on the trigger. Bracket is 12. Targets anywhere between 8 and 25-ish. Target one stop move. You can do break even -3. You could do break even -4. The stop is 15. I always label my trade, always. Okay. GC breakout. And I'm not trading live or prop on gold. because I'm just going to manage my trap trade. I've had too many trades where I've struggled to trade the trap trade properly because I was distracted. I don't want to be distracted during a trap trade. So the gold trade I'm doing just in sim trap trade. I'm trading in my Buell Knox account, and that'll be the ES. Okay. Now, the setup I'm going to use, obviously, it's a trap trade. So you click trap trade. We've got tier 1 is 10, tier 2 is 20, and the new version of the software, the time should be 9:59:55. Anyone that's using the previous version of the software, and you'll know if you're using the previous software because it will ask you for prep seconds. It will say activate prep seconds instead of time of event activation. The time of the event would be 10 o'clock exactly Eastern time, and prep seconds is 5. Okay. The new trap trade, which everybody should update to the new trap trade, we're just activating at the exact time we're putting the orders on the chart. It's like the breakout. It's less confusing. So we've got tiers of 10 and 20, stop of 15, time of event is 9:59:55. It's pretty straight ahead. Okay. Apply it. Okay it. Make sure your charts are on the account that you're trading. Okay. Make sure your charts are on the account that you're trading. Make sure you enable your trade. Okay, I've enabled my trade. Let's everybody check our time sync, because for many of you, this is your first trade of the week. A lot of people were not here yesterday, and we have a lot of people on the internet. Buell Knox has less rules than Apex Board of Trade. They let you trade the news. I mean, it's just, there's quite a few companies that let you trade the news. Top Step lets you trade the news. Every prop account company has different rules. And I'll tell you something, everybody. I've been spending a lot of time on a really fantastic website. It's called Top Music Lawyer. It's a woman who's absolutely off her rocker in many ways. She's actually a great musician, but she's an attorney. She's a music attorney, and that's her area of expertise. But what she does in some ways relates to us. She analyzes the terms of service of all of the music streaming companies for her website, her channel. That's her specialty. Terms of service, because it is one of the most important things. And essentially, terms of service are the rules that Apex and Buell Knox and all these companies have. And you've really got to read through the terms of service, because that really tells you what they're going to allow. And that's why sometimes it can be difficult to get paid. Sometimes people put in their pay, they don't get paid. Okay, everybody, go to the website, time is, and check your sync. All right, does everybody remember? Time.is. My computer is in sync. Okay, if you're not in sync, we have tools in our Room Drive folder in the website. Tools in the Room Drive folder that let you sync your computer. So don't forget, there's a folder called Room Drive. You can download D4 Time. You can download PT Sync, 2 sync programs. Okay. Let's get our clock going here. By the way, the clock program, which is one of the best products that we have, this clock is free. It's in the folder, topmost clock. Okay. Everybody can download that as well. So check your time sync. Yeah, happy to go over the settings again. Let's go over the settings one more time and we'll watch a couple of movies. Yeah, we'll watch, what's that new horror movie where you have to be quiet? What's the deal with that movie? All right, setup one, gold breakout. Definite risk today. I think we have extra risk because of everything. I mean, look, the markets are just riskier than usual these days. That's one thing we have to deal with. The markets are riskier. We have holiday trading. We're getting towards holiday trading. We have a report that has been pulling back fairly regularly. 959.59 on the breakout activation. The bracket is 12. I'm using targets anywhere between 8 and 25. I would not yell at anybody if you used 9 and 18. Okay, I don't think that would be foolish. Um, the stop is 15, and I'm using the target one stop move, break even -4. Okay, that's my gold setup. On my ES trap trade, I've got tiers of 10 and 20. I've got a stop of 15. Okay. Tiers of 10 and 20, stop of 15. The activation time, 9:59:55 for new software. And there are folks using our version 10. The activation time would be 10 o'clock, time of event it's called, and you have 5 seconds prep. Okay? 5 seconds prep. All right. Lou, this will not, I would not cancel, I don't cancel anything automatically anymore. Lou's asking, you saw what he asked, would you cancel after 20 seconds? I let the news result and the market behavior tell me if I want to cancel. Okay, Lou? I'm seriously thinking of removing the cancels from the DMMs because they're too literal. Okay, I don't want people to be literal all the time on them. All right? Okay. Now, let's watch some videos. Last month, what happened? So the DMM says we had pretty good move. Now, look, I'm not looking. Here's something you have to realize about the DMM. Last month, we had jolts. Okay? You got to remember, we had jolts last month. I'm not so sure this was a consumer confidence trade last month. You really can't go by last month's results on this report because jolts is a monster report these days. It's gigantic. Okay? Yes, same settings. Ravi didn't change anything. You know, I don't use the exact targets. Targets are your choice. So I'm not even looking at last month because it does not count. It's not a normal reaction to, I can't speak this morning, to consumer confidence. It's not a normal reaction. Okay? You got to keep that in mind. When you get cross-pollination, it's that's better than saying contamination. I don't like to say contamination. One report cross-pollinates another. All right, they interfere with each other, and sometimes they work together to give you a great result. Sometimes they absolutely interfere. So that's why I don't count it. The breakouts on the left for June. In June, there was no response. It was really strange, but it did fill the trap, and you could get out of the trap with a small profit. It was possible. But very strange. I don't think I've seen a consumer confidence report that didn't trigger. I can't remember the last time that happened. That's very unusual. Very unusual. And it had a, nope, you know what? The offset was not that big. It was not that big, but it was tradable, 100 versus 100.4. Not very big. I have to say that, but it's very rare. Honestly, it's very rare. Then we have May. Gold on the left. Every time I say that, I think of that song. Stuck in the middle with you. Gold on the left, ES on the right. Stuck in the middle with you. So it hits the first target, chops around quite a bit, pulls back, pushes down. Depending how you managed your stop would have determined where you got your profit, but it was a profitable trade. It was a good move. Even though it was choppy and moved around a lot, it was still a good profit was available. Try to be, that's why I did a BE minus 4, trying to stay away from the current price if the first target gets hit. Hello, Alfred. If the first target gets hit, and trying to remain in the trade at the same time. Looking at April. Okay, here's April again. Gold on the left, ES on the right. Now remember, if you want, you can trade tier 2 only on a trap trade. If you don't want to take the risk of a trap trade, you can trade just one tier. But you don't generally want to trade just tier 1. That actually is riskier than trading just tier 2. Because the idea is you want to give yourself the zone of safety that we test for on the trap trade. See how that hit targets but pulled back, okay? So that's what I mean about what the kind of behavior we've been seeing on gold. It's been hitting the first target and often pulling back. And the markets are volatile. You know, we're definitely seeing volatile markets today. Let's look at one more. Let me pull up February. You know, February, we're going back in time a bit. Different markets in February. Notice Richmond is out on every video. I'm looking over and seeing Richmond is out. February bursts up to hit the first target, pulls back. Okay? Bursts, pulls back. But hit the target for a profitable trade. Fred, you unfortunately got here a bit late, but to first start, you have to right click the chart and make sure your strategy is on the chart. That's the first step. Right click the chart, click on strategy, and double click JOBB version 11 or the trap trade, depending which one you're going to trade. Right click the chart, double click the strategy. All right, so I definitely feel strongly that it does hit the target and pull back. Markets are a little bit active, definitely active. You'll see that Richmond will come out probably about 20 to 25 seconds before the news gets released. Now, we did have what we call a spike sheet. Look at, there's quite a bit of volatility today. Now, keep in mind my charts are somewhat spread. That's one tick It looks worse than it is, so I'm not in a worry. You know what I mean? I'm not in a panic mode there. That's one tick at a time that it's moving. It looks a little bit more volatile than it is because my charts are spread to look at the when we tested the brackets, okay? So keep that in mind. The markets are a little bit down this morning. I wouldn't say that they were anything, I don't think that there's anything terrible going on in the markets this morning. It's amazing. How could the markets be hitting all-time highs? The Dow hit an all-time high yesterday with the world the way that it is. Someone has to explain it to me. The market is completely divorced from the world, it seems. It's amazing. How is that possible? Alfred, please make sure you're just trading in sim. Do not trade live. Okay, watching the markets. We only have 2.5 minutes until the report. We've checked our sync. Now remember, with a breakout trade, we expect a burst in the direction caused possibly by the news result. If the news is very good, I would expect gold to push down. If the news is very negative, I would expect gold to push up. One thing that's interesting is you have a triple magnet on gold. There's a real possibility gold is going to go and test the high of the day pretty soon. This news could be the catalyst that pushes gold to that high of the day. That is an interesting set it and forget it magnet trade possibly. It has a little bit of extra risk because you've got two magnets that are a little bit, they're about 20 ticks away from each other. So you could get a test of the PP and the previous close and maybe not a test of the high, but I don't think that would happen. I think if it goes up there, it's going to test the high. That's a triple magnet. Okay, 1 minute to go. They're expecting 100.9. That's good. That's good numbers. They're expecting pretty positive consumer confidence. My gut feeling is I don't. There's Richmond. Richmond always early. And I knew that was going to happen, so I'm going to listen. I'm not going to fudge with the results right now. I'm watching my trap. Remember, if you can't see your orders on the trap, shrink your charts. Okay, the news is out. It's 103.3. I would cancel gold. I would cancel gold. That was a bad response. Yes. Filled one tier. Move your stop to safety, people. Trap was the way to go. That's why I was trading it. Move your stop to safety. Okay. Gold is still trading. I hope everybody canceled that gold trade when it didn't burst. It did not burst. I don't want to trade a gold trade that doesn't burst, because this is what happens. At times you get this complete change in direction. Ironically, it's working now. Okay? I mean, so look, it makes me look stupid in a way because I said cancel. It responded late. Let's look at the news. So, look, you can all scream at me. You can all scream at me. The concern was it was going to do a nick fill to the upside and not fill. I would not say it's bad. It's not bad luck. It's not bad luck. I really felt it looked like it was going to be a bad trade because of the behavior. The fact that it would pop, fill, and reverse. It didn't go quite as far as I thought it would go. So no one should listen to me anyway. That's the truth. You shouldn't listen to me because I don't know any more than you do, right? I mean, I'm more experienced at it. I looked at that, the way that the behavior was, and let's look at the news and see if the results. I don't think that the results were very positive. So I'm going to have to bite the bullet and take responsibility for that trade, folks. That was a bad piece of advice by me. The only thing I'll say in my defense is the trap trade, in my opinion, was the better choice today. That's why I was doing it. But let me tell you why, so at least we learn if I make a mistake, I have to own it. And the mistake I made is that the news was so good. The news was so good. That was a strong reason for the short to work. So why do you sometimes not want to listen to me? Why would you in your own mind, and let me turn off my breakout, turn off your trades if you're done. Why in my own mind would I be overridden? Why in your mind would you override me? 103.3 versus an expectation of 100.9 is a very, very big offset. One of the issues that sometimes I'm dealing with is I'm trading, I'm trying to manage the trap. The ridiculous news popped off the screen, so I did not really see how good the result was, and I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it. But let's look at the video, but I have to own that. I should not have called a cancel. I shouldn't have called a cancel. That's the truth. But let's look at the behavior, and you can stone me. You can throw stones at me. You know, my concern is that people are safe and don't lose money. But again, if I'm on there trading the trap, I'm trading it because it's really doing well. I'm not going to trade a trap trade on a major report if it doesn't have a great opportunity for profit. I want that profit or I'm not going to trade it. Let's look at this video. All right, so I think most people understand what my concern was. First, concern number one, we didn't have a good response to the news at all. But the original response was in the wrong direction. I'm going to let it run in real time. I'm not going to stop it every second. There was no tradable response for 15 seconds. Now, normally, I don't look at time. That's not why I would have canceled it. That's not why I would have canceled it. My concern was that it popped and it hadn't decided, it didn't have a good direction. And it wound up responding really well just late to the news. I can't change what happened. It just responded late, and it was a good trade. That's all there was to it. I would have canceled my own, so it is the way it is. There's nothing I can do about it. I know why I canceled it. I didn't like the initial response, and that was my reasoning. It wound up really following the news result, which was extremely positive. It was extremely positive. And there's this terrible thought in the back of my mind to really increase my mistake. It almost seems like maybe it responded to that negative Richmond, and that's the pop up that didn't go far enough to fill. All right. So really, just I would have to say with Robbie, a little bit of bad luck that I called a cancel on that. Yeah, Roz, look, but I will say this, everybody. If you see me on the trap, then that's almost always my first choice. That's what that means. It's my first choice. So it means that I'm concerned about all those pullbacks on gold. I know, yes, we have a very good trading family money trade, but it's been tough. It's been tough to get money out of it, more than one target. So there's a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a lot of elements surrounding what appears to be one simple little trade. There's a lot of forces pushing and pulling at us. And you know that there's nothing that bothers me more than not giving perfect advice all the time. So, okay, a lot of moving parts. That's exactly what I was looking to say. I'm not ready to go yet, so hang in there, everybody. Thanks on YouTube. I want to close out our stream. Thank you, everybody, for watching on YouTube. You can see how transparent we are. We don't lie. We tell the truth here. That's what we're all about. You can join our service. There's a link in the stream. We'd love for you to join with us. I can tell everybody that our trial is going to go away for a while. It's not going to be possible to join us for the low price of our trial coming shortly. So you might want to take advantage of it.